It's Project Passion.
Okay, good afternoon or sorry, good morning everyone. Thank you for joining on time. So as I find sir is already here, so I will request Shobhit sir to initiate with the welcome note. So we are around 152 participants, 153 participants at this point. So we'll request you to start with. Thank you. Shobhit Banerjee sir, over to you please.
Thank you, Bitam. Namaskar, good morning to all. Welcome to this virtual town hall number 5. आप सबका अभिनंदन तथा स्वागत है. This is a fortnightly event hosted by ERP CIL and its subsidiaries in association with our system integrator, Messrs. Tech Mahindra. A small remembrance today, an unfortunate civil aviation tragedy has occurred last night, adding to the turmoil that we are facing today. Our heart goes out to the bereaved families. May God give them strength to overcome this loss and peace to the departed souls. Shortly before his death, Albert Einstein was asked what he would do differently if he could live his life again. Without hesitation, he said, I would study the Talmud. Talmud is the holy book of Jewish religion. It is about conversation, and the conversation never ends. Vartalap evam anant vartalap. Conversation is what we do most of the time. We listen, we talk, we think, and this goes on. We are taught to read, we are taught to write, we are taught to talk, but we are instructed to listen. We spend a lot of time hearing, but only 20 to 50% of this time is actually listening. Listening is said to be the secret to discover great stories. Lyndon B. Johnson said, if you are not listening, you are not learning. When we are open to learning, we benefit from the experience of the speaker and can inherit their wisdom and knowledge. Here we are today, again, to listen, so that some of our doubts about ERP implementation in CIL and its subsidiaries are somewhat answered. मुझे विश्वास है कि आज के स्टार स्पीकर के प्रोफाइल आप लोगों ने पढ़े होंगे. The odds of getting admission to IIT Mumbai is 1 in 1,000. To IIM Ahmedabad, 1 in 500. To qualify for Indian Engineering Services, 1 in 1,000. मुझे नहीं पता कि ये तीनों में क्वालिफाई करने के लिए क्या प्रोबेबिलिटी होगी. शायद ये सभी प्रतिष्ठान भारत के आईवी लीग में कहे जा सकते हैं. Today's speaker is one of those rarest who has ticked off all the boxes of an aspirant and more. It is my proud privilege to introduce Shri Kesav Rao. Sir is the Director Personnel of Mahanadi Coalfields Limited. Welcome, sir, to this Town Hall event number 5. साथ ही साथ मैं स्वागत करता हूं सभी जो आज इस टाउन हॉल इवेंट में हम लोगों के साथ जुड़े हैं। इन विषम परिस्थितियों में ये वास्तविक टाउन हॉल के अलावा आप लोगों तक पहुंचने की हमारे पास और कोई जरिया नहीं है। आप सबका स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है और इस इवेंट में आपके कुछ डाउट्स का निराकरण होगा, ऐसा हमारा विश्वास है। Wisdom, it is said, does not come from speaking, it comes from listening. The house is eager to listen to your sage words, sir. Over to you, Kesav Rao, sir, Director Personnel, Mahanadi Coalfields Limited. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Mr. Banerjee, for a wonderful, amazing introduction of mine. In fact, you have made me a rock star. Well, and I'm also pleased to find such amazing preparation and wonderful use of words that you have done for the introduction part. Is everybody listening, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello? Yeah, good. Thank you. It's one introduction. I'm really honored to be addressing such a big gathering, which is spread across CIL headquarters, subsidiaries, and many other places. So I certainly look forward to a very engrossing, engaging session. The challenge lies on me. And you have already heightened the expectations for everybody. So I better deliver. So let's begin. First of all, I wish to express my reservations regarding my discomfort regarding this online presentation, a lecture, because I'm uncomfortable not being able to see my audiences. Well, in the past, whenever I was delivering lectures, I was always interacting with my audience, throwing a question every couple of minutes and asking them to respond. This was an effective way of judging whether I was engaging them properly. Now that option is not available at the remote end. So I decided to have my own audience in this hall. So you can hear some laughter if you can. So they are helping me gauge the reaction. So, well, to begin with, I wish to thank Mr. Singh, GM, ERP, CIL headquarters, Mr. Banerjee, Chief Manager, CIL headquarters. I also want to thank all the people at the remote end who would have done some considerable amount of work to put together the content, to put together the network for arranging this talk. And yeah, Tech Mahindra team especially. I have not been introduced in a significant way to the members of the team. And I also thank my Technical Secretary, Mr. Javed, the members from my secretariat, Dilip and Sridhar. I also thank my HODs for joining in. I thank Mr. Bhanja, who is the GM Systems and the ERP in charge in MCL, and also the GM ENT, Mr. Selvan, and his team for bringing together this event. Now, this is a bit of an introduction. Let us basically, we are going through some very difficult times COVID-19 has already prolonged for about 5 months now. So I pray for the families of everyone that they should have a safe and healthy passage through these difficult times, and hope no harm comes to anybody. But still, we are getting reports during discussion that there have been some cases in some of the subsidiaries. I hope things normalize as soon as possible. It's been quite a challenging time. We have been hearing about the heroic stories of Corona warriors, that is our medical professionals, who have been doing a terrific job across the country, serving the society, nation, and the humanity as a whole. So this comes as a great moment. We see sacrifices. The way we see the sacrifices of our soldiers on the borders, in the same manner, Corona warriors are doing their sacrifices, doing their bit to save thousands and thousands of people every other day. Well, in the same manner, we have been calling our coal miners, our fellows who are putting in hard work in the mines, as energy warriors. So our energy warriors are also battling with the hostile circumstances and securing the nation the way our soldiers are securing the borders. They are bringing energy security to the nation. So this is a time to, for that matter, all the time it is a time to acknowledge their contribution to the nation. Similarly, today we are here to discuss ERP implementation in Coal India. Now, let me tell you, we have to appreciate the profoundness of this massive exercise. And therefore, to begin with, we should call our ERP team as ERP warriors. And let me tell you what they are doing, or let's say, if we would like to call each of us as an ERP contributor, then what we are doing, we are building a virtual edifice for the whole organization that will far, far outlast any of the physical edifices that we are watching in our company. It will create a solid foundation that will empower, energize, and bring results for the organization. That is the profoundness of this exercise once it goes through successfully. So success is something on which you have no choice. You have to succeed. And therefore, the purpose of this talk is not just discussing some specific issues that I have outlined in the talk, but to repeatedly register and to reinforce on our minds that ERP is the soul, will be the soul of organizational efficiency, of organizational gain. And therefore, you have to succeed and you have to use it efficiently, effectively, and let there be no failure stories. So that is the first lesson or first message I would like to give to everybody. It's very important. Now, a brief compliment for the audiences. Because I can't see the audiences, it's almost a feeling that that it's like a romance without the lover. So, well, let's come back to the point. As you've already, some of you would have read through the profile that was circulated. So we wish to speak on 3 points. One is managing change while implementing ERP. The other one is value of having single enterprise-wide system, that is standardization. And third one is transparency after ERP. So I'll be coming to these issues one by one, and I'll be taking you through a brief journey of what I have been doing in the past, because I thought instead of picking up a structured talk through some theoretical concepts with some examples, I thought let us talk some real life issues that also matter. And there are many methods of teaching. Through thousands of years, humanity has learnt various things only through teachings from the grandmother. So, let us, what is the significance of ERP? We said, I just mentioned about the profoundness of this exercise. Now, what is the significance of ERP for an organization? ERP is as important as air, water, food, mobile, and internet. Well, so that should give you an idea what we are missing without an ERP. Now, I was reading through some information provided to me that among the Maharatnas, Coal India is probably the last to implement the ERP. I mean, some Maharatna started big back in 2001. So, well, never mind. If we can be Maharatna without ERP, then imagine what we can do with ERP. So, that definitely opens up enormous, profound, formidable possibilities for us to deliver once ERP is through. Because as I said a little while ago, this is a virtual edifice you are creating which will last very long if nurtured by one and all. So with that comes ERP. Now another thing I just want to mention before we dwell upon some related issues. Basically, ERP has several advantages, of which I'll be talking about in my subsequent part of the talk. But just to give an idea, I'll also be substantiating what I'm saying now with examples a little later. What I'm saying is, among various savings and benefits that ERP brings, one of them is, saving on manpower. Now, the moment you say saving on manpower, it has various unions and associations. They get an apprehension that probably this is an attempt at reducing manpower. This has never been the intent of any organization. We have been, for the last 40 years, we have been hearing computerization will shrink the economy. Millions will go without jobs, millions will be unemployed. But what has happened? Now we have the largest number of people in India, so that is in the way of reducing jobs. That's because the tools of adding productivity and therefore overall output. So there's no apprehension. Just a small example in this regard. Why manpower shouldn't be doing what an IT platform can do. Take an example, let's say some cables have to be laid in a city or in the remote area. You assign the work to a Mazdoor. A Mazdoor, based on some norms that I already know of, usually digs a trench in a day that will be around, say, 3 meters long, 1 meter deep, and 1 foot wide. That is typically the trench required to lay a cable. So a Mazdoor is capable of digging 3 meters in a day, in normal times. So for digging half a kilometer, you need 107 Mazdoors, 170 Mazdoors. Whereas for doing the same work using a machine, a shovel, you can do it, single shovel will do this job, and it will be done in a single day. Half a kilometer of trenching will be done. So it just proves the point that what can be done with tremendous ease using a machine need not be done by humans. Humans are suited for better jobs, jobs of higher intellect level. The very fact that human race is the most superior among the animals means that they should be given jobs which don't require physical energy but mental energy. So that's one area where I'm sure ERP can. ERP will free people from some jobs where they can do a higher level of jobs. Now, I'll also mention some perspective on the sector we are in. We are in Coal India. We have a global scenario today wherein I'm getting some feedback that some people are not able to understand. Can at remote end, somebody can have a look at the networks?
Yes, sir, looking into it. Please continue.
Yeah. So, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about the Coal India, right? Basically, worldwide right now, China is the largest coal producer. We are the second largest. And Coal India as an individual producer is the single largest company producing largest amount of coal. This is the current scenario. But the environmentalists, the climate change scaremongers, though I would not like to use the word scaremonger, I would say that climate change apprehensions that have been raised in every quarter of the world, although has led to coal being declared a dirty fuel. And that has raised questions on the future of the fuel. And therefore, I do get a lot of Google alerts on my email, which every other day mentions that coal is being phased out in America, coal is being phased out in Europe, so on and so forth. But the question is, can we phase out coal in our country? Well, my definite answer would be no. There are some people say that in 10 years coal will be out. I would emphatically like to say no to this. The only future will tell what really happens. My hunch is coal should last at least 15 to 20 years comfortably. After that, a decline may start. The reason, I'll just mention some figures. We have a total installed capacity of 281 gigawatt across the country. Out of that, 81% is thermal. Hydel and nuclear add up to just 19%. Nuclear is only 6.7 gigawatt. Now, the question is it possible to expand hydel and nuclear at this stage? The answer would be very difficult, because in the case of nuclear, the opposition is extremely severe in most cases, because there are bigger hazards as compared if safety goes wrong. We are aware of that. Such hazards have happened in Japan, they have happened in Chernobyl, and the results are disastrous. So nuclear as a uninterrupted continuous supply of fuel, the supply of power, is difficult to expand. Now hydel is even more difficult, because you have to create extremely large reservoir, which results in destruction of flora and fauna across very large areas, much larger than possibly what we do in our mines. So again, that is a very difficult thing. Plus, the gestation period for a hydel project tends to be not years, it is almost invariably decades, several decades. Even though technology can cut it down, but still the problems remain. In future, it's not easy to bring too many hydel projects unless we run into a severe water crisis, which we are to some extent. Water crisis across the country and across the world is gradually becoming the new problem, which will cause, some people say, the third world war. So regardless of that, expanding hydro capacity is not easy. As far as renewable is concerned, we have a formidable renewable capacity now. It's around 81 gigawatt. And out of that, 45% is wind and around 35% is solar. Rest is all small things like small hydro projects, biomass, or whatever. Now, the question is, do such large capacities in wind and solar provide replacement for thermal? Obviously, all of you would know they don't. What do you do when there is no sunlight? You will not get the adequate power from solar. What do you do at night? Solar is useless. So you need storage. Is it possible to store terabytes of electricity, tera units of electricity? It's not easy. It's not easy. So because although they are saying storage costs are reducing rapidly, but these remain applicable only for small devices, maximum extendable up to automobiles. Similarly, wind energy, when there is no wind, there is no power. So this really doesn't help. These remain auxiliary power sources regardless of size and capacity they offer. Uninterrupted power in the near future can come only through thermal. So I don't perceive an alternative for the next 15 years. Now you may say, if this cannot be replaced, then how they have managed in Western countries like France, Europe? Well, France has adequate number of nuclear power plants. They are getting power for that. But nuclear power generally tends to be expensive, and it is often installed besides other things for building strategic advantage. So, for example, our capacity is 6.7 gigawatt in nuclear. Probably this would be more than sufficient for a couple of countries in Europe. But the scale and size of our population makes this very different. So this perspective is for our organization, that what we are doing shall remain strong for 10-15 years without a doubt, and carry no apprehensions in this regard. And now that we are going to be doing very well for the next 15-20 years, let us get efficient, let us go bigger, let us become cost conscious by implementing ERP. I also perceive a small scenario for the country. I don't know about the West, but I perceive for our country is like, in future, if cost saving comes by virtue of solar, so there is a likelihood that everybody installs a solar panel over his house. He or she also has a battery bank. That solar panel will be providing electricity for normal usage like lighting, fans, low energy devices. But for high energy, we'll be drawing power from the distribution point. So this is quite a possibility. Imagine a house where you have a solar lights throughout the day, or in the night lights are operated only through solar power stored. Whereas the night, the electricity will be used for even night or day, electricity will be used for air conditioning and possibly charging your automobile battery. Because even though coal is a maligned fuel, petro products are equally maligned. They are responsible for the excessive pollution in the cities and warming of the cities, if not global warming. Definitely they are contributing there too. So that's the perspective, and that's how we are seeking to improve ourselves. So how are we improving besides ERP? We are already in the process of setting up research for reducing ash content in coal. We are also working towards gasification. So these two things will probably improve the reputation of coal in future. So with that hope, I just look forward to now narrating a brief about what I have been doing in the past. I just thought that would be of some relevance with respect to ERP, because we have been right now only skirting the issue. Well, as you would have read through, some of you would have read through my profile. I was working with the Central Vigilance Commission. I'm sure Central Vigilance Commission needs no introduction to all of you, because it's a very well-known national watchdog on corruption, and working in this organization was indeed a privilege, because it brings attention for a very just cause. So that's what I was doing there. Now, besides doing the work of anti-corruption, I was also involved with the implementation of IT-related project there. So there I went through some interesting experiences which have similar analogy for ERP. Basically, I was implementing a kind of e-office which would facilitate movement of files electronically and also complaints. Now, a watchdog on anti-corruption is basically, the first job is to receive complaints from across the country. Why just country? Across the world, if the stakes are in India. So there used to be thousands and thousands of complaints every year. And there were multiple modes. This included physical form, emails, faxes. I mean, those times faxes were also in active use. There were complaints directly submitted on the website. There was a call center. People would receive a complaint and note it down in a register. So all these things were happening. And there was no foreign database to put together these things. So that's one thing we started with. We had set up an application to handle the complaints. So that application, first of all, created and integrated the multiple interfaces. So the same application would have a scanned copy of the written complaint. The same application would have the email pasted onto it. The same application would have the fax copy scanned. The same application would have the call center guy entering the data in the application right away. And the same application provided interface through the website also. So this brought about integration, which was a significant achievement. Now, Central Vigilance Commission is an organization with around 200 people. But the volume of paperwork it generates is so formidable that it can be unnerving. So that's the reason behind that is actually it deals with almost 250 different ministries, PSUs, and other autonomous organizations. And CVOs, Chief Vigilance Officers of these organizations, regularly communicate with the Central Vigilance Commission on various anti-corruption matters. Therefore, the quantum of correspondence, complaints, papers is huge. So if you just set right the issue of complaints, at least, it takes care of a good chunk of the problem. That is, first of all, you collate all the complaints into a single medium, keep a proper statistical record, and once a decision on what action is to be taken on a complaint has been done, it should be immediately transferred to the concerned Chief Vigilance Officer's account. So this system, besides accepting complaints, had an interface to well over 250 Chief Vigilance Officers across the country in various ministries and PSUs and autonomous organizations. And they would receive the complaints and thereafter take action. And then thereafter, they would also submit necessary reports in this regard through the same channel. So this became a very useful tool. And it led to, integration of multiple modes. It offered better statistical data. It had a control over disposal. It also ensured better retrieval of information. And it is logical. These are the kind of things you should expect in ERP also. Once you have put all your data together and once you put it in your system, ERP is a software which is capable of analyzing all these things and bringing you out whatever reports you desire. So that's what was happening. So, but, once you go live with any system, you immediately encounter hundreds of problems. So obviously there were so many reports or so many actions that could not be completed, which were otherwise being done in a physical manner. So every day there used to be a meeting. Every day they would chalk out a list of dozen problems, quickly start working on that, and dispose it off in a week's time. So this was actually the way we worked there and successfully brought about, complete capturing of complaints in electronic form and transmission to 250 different organizations, and thereby making life simple for many people. Now the results were amazing. Initially there used to be a count of 17,000 complaints. After the integration it went up to 29,000. That's because all modes were not getting counted in the first place. And of course, a lot of data could be kept in a rather effective manner. This was a huge help. But after a few days, we found that somebody misused the system. He lodged 30,000 complaints. So a lot of effort went into deleting it and restricting the complainants from lodging complaints. We made it only one complaint a week. One can't be thinking of having dozens of corruption issues in a single day. So it was presumed that if you have a grievance on corruption complaint, so please lodge it once, then wait for next week till you come up with another one. So that is how we went on proceeding, and things got stabilized after a while. So, but it was overall a successful experiment, and which resulted in improving office efficiency on some accounts. Thereafter, handling of files was also done slowly. And now let me come back to this. Before CVC, I was working for BSNL, and after CVC, I worked as a Chief Vigilance Officer, wherein my main company was Pawan Hans Limited. It is that helicopter operating company. It has around 40 helicopters, and it has around 400 to 500 employees. On the other hand, you may be knowing adequately about BSNL. When BSNL started working in 2000, it had 4 lakh employees. So that is the contrast I happen to work with. And one side 4 lakh, the other side 400, and both had ERP. So that is the point of emphasizing ERP. So one second. So I actually entered Central Vigilance Commission in 2010. And before that, I was serving in BSNL. So towards the end, we were in the process of, preparing for launching ERP. So that process was on. In the meantime, I had to leave for CVC. So, and when I came back again to BSNL in 2017, by that time, the system had been obviously implemented across the organization, and it had stabilized, and it was indeed offering a lot of convenience. A simple example to cite in regard how it was offering convenience would be like this. Basically, BSNL was earlier a service part of the Department of Telecom. So when government changed the policy to create level playing field in telecom, they converted BSNL into the DOT into BSNL. Yeah. So while doing so, we had around 4 lakh people coming into the company. So considering the turnover at that time and the salaries, it was affordable, but gradually this did become a problem because the salaries went on rising, whereas stiff competition in the telecom sector ensured that the revenues could not rise as much. Besides, even though the pie, by pie I would like to say number of customers, even though the pie was growing, the revenues weren't, simply because the tariffs were falling very steadily also. The last biggest fall came with the arrival of Reliance Jio. So ultimately, BSNL started with 4 lakh employees, around 1 crore customers, and today it has around 10 crore customers. And this year, they have retired another 78,000 people, which has brought down the total employees to around 75,000. So as you can see, even though the number of employees over the years have reduced from 4 lakh to 70,000, that's almost 1/6. The customers have gone up from 1 crore to 10 crore. But still, the operations continue uninterrupted. There are many factors how this is happening, but I'm sure one important contribution is ERP. So that's I couldn't have emphasized it more without mentioning this. So we are doing right. We are on track for implementing ERP in MCL and WCL to begin with, and our teams are doing a wonderful job, working day and night, burning midnight oil, and trying to keep pace with the timeline. And therefore, it remains a challenge. All of us have to go through some cultural change to go through this exercise. So now let me dwell upon a bit on change management. Basically, as we go through the ERP regime, probably a whole lot of activities that we were doing on paper would get converted to electronic form, right? So should that happen, some of us may not be ready for it. But everyone has to get ready, everyone has to deliver, everyone has to get in tune. So we are going through this phase of change management. So for ensuring effective change management, obviously the first requirement is that we have to state the purpose very clearly. And I'm happy the ERP team in Coal India, assisted by Tech Mahindra, they are doing a wonderful job in arranging such talks, bringing awareness to people, and doing adequate amount of training as well, so that the purpose of change is very clearly articulated, and also a sense of urgency has to be created. That is also being done adequately, and generally it is being reviewed at the highest level. I mean, yesterday only during discussion, our CMD said he would be shortly holding a review meeting on ERP, and this is the crucial time, and we have to be on time to ensure we deliver on time. Now, we have a core team which is doing very effective communication, and it is addressing all the concerns also very carefully. Every department has a nodal officer. They are all doing a perfect job. There may be some laggards, but I'm sure, let us all get motivated. Let us all catch up. Let there be a race in which all come first. So we are going to do adequate hand holding and the removal of apprehensions. So the GM systems in every company will have a vital role, ensuring that during the transition, every problem is solved. Because once you go live, you can expect several kinds of problems. I've seen this happening in, I just mentioned about an IT system because that is something probably all the audiences would have liked to relate to. But let me tell you, it's not just IT systems. I have been associated with commissioning of large size telephone exchanges, mobile switches in BSNL. And the nature of work involved is similar in nature. That once you go live, you find a lot of disruption happening. So sometimes you may have to go back to the old system. So you can expect disruptions in any module, whether it is sales or marketing, whether it is HR processes, whether it is finance. So sometimes you may even have to run two parallel systems. I'm sure GM system is planning for that, isn't it? Huh? Yeah. So he says the core is there and will continue for some time. We'll be doing things on both, so that we get the confidence that ERP is indeed working fine. It is not a black box anymore. And all such big shutdowns can actually be taken care of. Actually, ordinarily, when we are in the process of go live, we should be doing adequate simulation to ensure that every conceivable situation has already been thought of. Or so you may say every likely situation has already been thought of, and therefore you are prepared for it, for every emergency. I'm sure that kind of a preparation is on. Now, benefits of ERP is something that we are already aware of since you are implementing. I'm sure it would be just a repetition. However, for the sake of those who have not spent time consciously appreciating its usefulness, I would just briefly like to mention it will ensure better data for decision making. It will also ensure you get better customer service. It will also ensure you have lower inventory costs. It ensures you have better cash flow. Now, the good part of cash flow comes from the fact that once you lower your inventory cost, your capital block reduces. And if your block capital is reduced, then obviously you have more cash at your disposal. You have to borrow less if you are borrowing. Once you have all the data in place, it becomes easy for you to do scalability, and you have in general a superior supply chain management. Your supplies improve, you have a grip over every activity that is going on in the organization. That is what we expect. So with this, I come to the next item of our discussion. How many minutes have it been? 40, around 40? Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The value of having a single enterprise-wide system. Well, single enterprise-wide system, while it's a very important concept, but let me tell you, all the vital developments in the last 100 years have happened because of standardization. Why just 100 years? Since the beginning of Industrial Revolution. Since the beginning of Industrial Revolution, standardization is the main reason why we have been able to progress the human race so much over the last 250, 300 years. It would be impossible without standardization. You develop a prototype, you develop the ability to produce the prototype. The development of prototype which can be repeated is nothing but standardization. So that is the essence of standardization. Just imagine you had different type of computers, but you would never be able to conveniently transfer data from one to another if you didn't have a USB port. So USB port is one convenient form of day-to-day standardization. There are several other vital examples I would like to give, but I'll restrict myself to a couple of them. One is, by standardization you have tremendous cost efficiency, because when you have to repeatedly do the same thing, there are savings in terms of cost. There is a very, very vital piece of gain I would like to emphasize: learning curve effect. If you do something once, you will make mistakes. If you do twice, you will make fewer mistakes. If you do 10 times, you will do it right. If you do it 100 times, you will be an expert. I would just like to add a bit of humor to this. I would like to cite an example from, I think, what is that movie, Mary Kom. I think the coach tells Priyanka Chopra, मुझे तुम्हारे उस एक, I don't know, I may be misquoting or it could be some other movie, but this is what I recollect. मुझे तुम्हारे उन 10,000 शॉट से डर नहीं लगता जो तुमने एक बार प्रैक्टिस किया है. मुझे तुम्हारे एक शॉट से डर लग जाए जो तुमने 10,000 बार प्रैक्टिस किया है. Very common. So okay, so the audience here has proved me right. So before continuing on standardization, I just recollected something that I was thinking of in the morning, for a message for all those working on ERP. My message is, show the commitment of Salman Khan, passion of Shah Rukh Khan, method of Amir Khan, and endurance of Amitabh Bachchan. Now, as I was talking about standardization, it also brings interchangeability and interoperability that we were just referring to as the example regarding USB ports. One classic example that we see in the airline industry is Indigo Airlines, which is doing an amazing job with standardization. Unfortunately, we are going through such difficult times in our lives and through last 100 years that actually hundreds of airlines may go bust, simply because they just can't sustain the cost associated without flying. And again, as Mr. Banerjee reminded right in the beginning, it was an extremely sad accident yesterday, resulting in loss of around 18 lives, complete damage to the aircraft, like almost more than 100 people getting injured. Very sad. and sadly it came almost about after 10 years. Last such sad incident happened in Mangalore in 2010. So every such incident, really shakes you up and makes you very sad. Hope such a recurrence doesn't happen for very long, because the safety standards in any case in the airline industry keep on improving continuously. I was very closely associated with the airline industry for a reasonable amount of time, 2 years, because I was CEO in Pawan Hans, DGCA and Airport Authority, and I was also CEO of Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Udan Academy. That is a training school for pilots. So anyway, that's unfortunate. But coming back to the example of Indigo. See, there are two contrasts. One is Air India, one is Indigo. Air India, unfortunately, owing to various difficulties, apart from surplus manpower and operational inefficiencies, has difficulty in terms of managing a variety of planes on its fleet. It has got Boeing as well as Airbus. It has got ATRs. So it becomes really difficult. It has got Bombardiers. Whereas Indigo, regardless of the distance traveled, regardless of domestic or international, they have stuck to one format, only A320. So all their pilots are trained on a single airline. All their engineers, all their pilots trained on a single aeroplane. All their engineers trained on single aeroplane. Tremendous flexibility. There is a shortage of engineer in Delhi, rush him from Mumbai. There is a shortage in Calcutta, rush him from Delhi. So this has led to tremendous saving on varied costs. Then there is issue of it helps in streamlining internal processes tremendously. Variety in inventory. Every piece of inventory required with maintaining a variety of equipment is a huge headache. You have to chase every vendor to get the delivered product, get the product delivered on time. So you end up with a lot of logistic issues, which can really consume a lot of time, block a lot of capital. For example, theoretically, if we were to presume that one aircraft engineer can manage up to 1, 2, 3, 4 aircraft. So whether you have 1, whether you have 2, whether you have 5, single engineer would probably do. This is just theory I'm talking, not practice. But the moment you add a different type of aircraft, you need another engine. So even with 2 aircrafts, you need 2 engineers, but on the other side, you might end up having only 1 engineer with even 5 aircrafts. So that is the kind of benefit standardization brings. So with that, I think I'll conclude on the standardization part. I'm supposed to briefly speak on benefits of transparency through implementation of ERP. Well, some of you may very well have imagined the scenario, those working, for example, you apply for your leave on a piece of paper. You submit your TA bills. You submit your medical bills. Once this ERP comes in, everything besides moving the paper physically, which sometimes is inevitable, because you need always original invoices for processing bills, which is not easy to get over at present. We are probably not ready as on date to get process bills on scanned photocopies or whatever. Therefore, once you start processing your TA bills, medical bills, leave applications online, you know where it has gone, whether it is pending for approval, whether it has been approved, if approved, on what date approved. So all these things do happen. It builds a trust in your mind that, okay, my papers are moving. Every day I am able to check. I also get sometimes SMSs that, okay, your leave has been approved, your bill has been passed. All such things will happen. So this builds tremendous trust in the individual who's getting his bills processed. This may be of less significance to officers at higher level because they are able to get it done easily. You imagine the plight of an individual who's just working in the mines, our energy warrior, who submits a bill, medical bill. He has no time to chase. If he gets out of his shovel, if he gets out of his dumper, operations will be hampered. And by the time he decides to step out of his dumper and go check out whether his bills have been passed or not, the office time is over. So he calls up a friend of his who may help him or may not help him. So, but instead, if he could log on to his ERP account for a minute or two and find out what has happened with his bill, he would immediately know whether it has been passed or not. He would also get an SMS whether it has been paid or not. So this builds tremendous trust within the organization, and therefore it improves employee engagement. Employees don't feel detached with the organization. If you show them through your actions, through your transparency, that you are willing to take care of them. So this also brings you easy feedback. You will yourself be able to get from the system how many bills are delayed. Isn't it? And this will also be an additional measure of performance for us all. And therefore it is indeed, again spoken in different terms, this is actually what you may call as employee and stakeholder empowerment. So this definitely brings a greater clarity on. Now the other side of, let's say on the vendor side, or the contractor side, who want to get contracts in your organization. When you go transparent, reduces corruption. So on that front, already some action has been taken through e-tenders and website and disclosures and following CVC guidelines. So, however, this is a benefit, it's an essential benefit of transparency. It also enhances fairness. Once you award a contract in favor of somebody, and disclose the reasons and disclose as to what all actions you have taken and why you have taken, you are transparent to the public, explaining whether you have been fair or not. If you have not been fair, then your unfairness will be exposed and it will be reported to the appropriate authorities. So with that perspective, transparency necessarily forces you to become fair to one and all. So those are the various aspects of this talk. I think it's about time I should conclude. So once again, thank you GM ERP, Chief Manager ERP, Coal India Headquarters, Mr. Singh and Banerjee, the team from Tech Mahindra, all the members of the audience, including my Technical Secretary, GM Systems, HODs from IR Training and Recruitment. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm open to questions in case there are any.
Right. So I'm just putting everyone into the panelists now, those who are attending at this point of time. So you can share your thoughts and your whatever queries you are having. I find in the chat window.
One second, I'll mute.
Okay, thank you, sir. One query, like, do CVC is having SAP or any other ERP system? That is from Durgesh Mishra ji. So that's what he asked in the chat window. Do CVC is having SAP or any other?
For the person who raised the question, the Central Vigilance Commission does not have an SEP. The reason being, it's an organization with very limited scope of activities. It's got a one-point agenda for framing policies on corruption, examining cases of corruption, and ensuring government takes action on these. So there is no resource allocation, there is no inventory, there is no working capital management. So all these issues are not there. So therefore, the necessity of SAP for the CVC is not felt at this stage.
We'll request everyone to please go on mute. We'll request everyone to go on mute, please. Okay, so thank you. Any other queries you can please raise? You just unmute yourself and share your queries, please.
Actually, I am S.K. Roy, Chief Manager Marketing Sales in CL headquarters. Actually, I wanted to ask what are the checks when the performances will be done by the people in the ERP system? Then is there any timeline within which it has to be done? And if it is not, then what are the repercussions? How it can be managed? Whether it will be fitted in the system that if the letter is not replied within 10 days or 15 days or something like that, or the works or the jobs performed by the individual person is not completed in a particular time frame, then whether he will be asked for it or he will be given some penalty or something like that.
Okay, good question. That brings me to my old point that I have to remove the apprehensions. So I would like to remove your apprehensions.
Right.
First of all, what I said was ERP will bring transparency, but that does not necessarily mean we are enforcing something. See, Coal India headquarters has circulated a few days ago a charter of activities which are to be wherein you will follow certain timelines, and it has given liberty to the subsidiary companies to decide their own timeline. This is it is under it is just a charter. Like, we are not linking performance to monitoring. Such a delay, if any, can be monitored online, but that does not mean that the purpose is to force people. We want to motivate people initially.
Sir, I am Dr. Shishir Dutta from here. May I ask any question? One question, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am Dr. Shishir Dutta from IICN, sir, as such.
Please.
Yeah, we have already, with respect to the HR, I would like to have one question that in HRIS, we also put training and development needs of an individual.
Right.
But when we seek nomination, even right now, we won't get the desired nomination based on the need of an individual need of the company and as such. And for example, we are about to conduct the contract management classes. In that, the people who are dealing with the contracts, they are not being nominated. Instead, many of the guys who are remotely connected with contract, like community development and then personal guys, they are mostly getting nomination. So what I mean to say that even in HRIS we have that facility. Even if ERP comes, we may have a better superior facilities in data analytics and all that. So how does it going to impact our attitude as such?
Okay, so let me come to the point. See, first of all, this is problem with ERP, but I'll quickly give an answer. In every organization which is either obsessed with production or its routine operations, training gets sidelined. Now the collective duty for training on high priority, because the days spent in training are not only refreshing, they are enormously enriching, and it brings tremendous gain mentally. So on my side, if any such thing is brought to my notice, I will ensure people are promptly sent for training as desired. Okay.
One more question in the chat. It is from Gangadhar ji. Sir, what are the most challenges MCL is facing in implementing ERP right now?
See, I mean, our team to say that we are on target. So whatever challenges, I am sure he is capable of taking care at his level, which means the challenges are there, but they are surmountable. So I don't think there are any challenges which would result in disruption as of now.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more thing from ACCL Mayank Das. He has a suggestion, I will say. He's asking like, we request you to arrange for documentation for all the challenges being faced in MCL and how your team overcome or shall overcome, and how best practices have been involved or during this ERP implementation, so that the phase 2 subsidiaries may be benefited out of it.
Excellent suggestion. We will start working on it.
Okay, thank you. I will request Subhrata Vishwas ji, if you kindly share your thoughts unmuting, because there are a lot of queries you have written. So it will be better if you can just unmute yourself and speak. I guess it is from HMS section.
Yeah.
Sir, I am Subhrata Vishwas, sir.
Yeah.
I am calling from PL, sir. So you must be aware that we are implementing ERP as well as hospital management system.
Right.
In your subsidiary, it was decided earlier that culture and Ibali, both the places will be placed
Right.
HMS, but ultimately the Ibali was finally decided. So this is the introduction. One thing I will ask you, or request you, if you can share your experience, if you have any past experience on this HMS implementation, any problem or any kind of experience. Number two, I was frequently asked by the so many DPs regarding the corruption of the ghost employee can be minimized with this software or not. So for these things, sir, I will request you, all the employees, if possible, they are dependent also, sir, their photographs, your order is required in this respect. All employees should take their photographs, and those photographs will be incorporated in the HANA database of the SAP ERP. In turn, that will be communicated to SQL Server database on real-time basis. As a result, when any employee comes, we will check his photograph along with our database photograph. Number one. Number two is that I request you, sir, this photograph is to be. Number two is that.
Yeah.
Number two is that this photograph is to be updated every 2 years, sir, because his face may be changed. And we are also planning to take the dependent photographs also in our SAP database, that it is under process. In this respect, I want your blessings and your help in implementing the hospital management system. I will meet you positively, sir, if this pandemic is over, and I will request your blessings for implementation of this HMS in the hospital. In this respect, I will mention the name of Subhrangshu Bhangjo, who is very close friend of mine, and RKP Singh sir, with my boss. I am chief manager, so systems. So they are tremendously, all they also, they are tremendously cooperating in this respect, sir. Please, sir.
Okay, one day. Sir.
Very good suggestion. We will implement whatever you are suggesting, and we'll seek, we'll have a detailed discussion with you on this subsequently.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for the queries. If we are not having any further queries,
I have seen one question on chat. I'll just read out the question. This question is regarding PSUs are required to procure on L1 basis, but Government of India goes for specific makes, for example, personal computers. So I have a simple answer to this. This is not correct. Even PSUs can go for specific makes. There is no restriction. You just have to justify the urgency and importance.
okay, thank you. I truly appreciate, sir, the way you handle the questions and the way you have shared all your knowledges. It's really a great listening to you. Moving ahead, I will request RKP Singh, sir, to share a vote of thanks here. And I will request everyone don't go away. So as sir was mentioning, he was feeling lonely where he was not able to view the other person. So we will ask everyone to put their video on, and we'll take a click at the end. So now I just want to hand over to RKP Singh, sir. And as I can also see, Kamal sir is also there in the call. So if you can also share your thoughts as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Pritam. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. Myself, RKP Singh, MRP. Sir, before I come to your address, please mute yourself. Best of all. So before I come to your address, sir, let me
सुनने की जरूरत है क्या?
please
एक
mute
वीडियो आया प्ले करूंगा इसमें.
Everyone, please go on mute.
Yes. The first question which was raised by SK Rai from India, whatever business logic you are going to set, whatever alert you are going to set, which is the best practice for marketing and sales in SD model of ERP, it is by that process SAP will work. It is nothing built inside the SAP SD model. So whatever logic which we have decided through our business blueprint, which is accepted by PAN Coal India, by all your SMEs, in which your department is also involved, we will set that alerts, the process, the timeline, everything. So you need not to worry for that. We will come to that again on that. And regarding Shishir Datta question regarding HRIS, it is right now not a part of ERP. We are going to integrate with HRIS in a coming time. But same is the logic here also. Whatever logic you have set in HRIS system, that will prevail. Whether you have analyzed the things in the HRIS system, which may be later on part of ERP also, we may take the full thing in ERP or just integrating the ERP with SAP. The logic you have to define. How you select your participant is totally depending on what logics are set there. There is no way out. You have to follow that. And so I'm just supplementing what sir has answered. That's it. Now coming to sir's address. Thank you very much, sir. Your address is very interesting, very encouraging. I must say, without touching the nitty-gritty of ERP, although it is my part, my team part, as a team ERP at Coal India and subsidiary, but you touched each and everything very interestingly regarding ERP. whatever things ERP can do, you taught, you rather convinced all of us, encouraged all of us, all your participants, how best you can utilize your coming year. And obviously, without ERP, if we are, it's a very encouraging word for all of us. Without ERP, if we are Maharatna, where we will reach with ERP. So that's the most most encouraging thing for all of us. And the second thing, sir, like border warriors, you have coined a new name to all our ERP involved warriors, ERP warriors, like Corona warriors and warriors at borders. You have given us a new name of ERP warriors. Truly, sir, we are working day and night along with our team at different subsidiaries also. We will do it certainly with the help of management like you, sitting at different, at Coal India and at different subsidiaries. Sir, it is, I must compliment, it is really literally the OCM for ERP. Without touching the nitty-gritty, you have shown us the interest on that. And sir, just I want to clarify few things here, taking the advantage of this virtual town hall. Sir, any way, the way you addressed us, PAN Coal India, this OCM for Coal India as a whole, the same thing should percolate from subsidiary headquarters to area units that way. The GM personnel at your level, at subsidiary level, and APM at area level, they must go on doing such type of OCM at different levels, small group sort of thing, so that we won't let our employee forget what ERP is, what benefit we can take from the ERP. So that's one suggestion, not only to MCL, to all the participants listening to this town hall. Same way we can take forward this thing in a subsidiary also. And the same system, listening this virtual town hall, please take care of the infrastructure required for this town hall. It is make your life very easy, just convincing others how ERP can help you out. And one more interesting thing, we have gone through a survey also. It is a link is there in our site also. We have given the same link in subsidiary. Please mute yourself, other than DP sir, myself and Pritam. Link in the website of subsidiary also.
Hello, one second, interrupting you. There are a couple of other queries. Would you like to address that? Queries on message.
Sir, better you address that, sir, and then I will.
Yeah, I think since there are 2-3 queries, I'll quickly address them, and after that, in case you have any, please contact me on email subsequently. Although it may not be very exciting to, once the session is over, the excitement gets over. But nevertheless, whatever has come till now, I will address that. One question is, what is more beneficial for employee satisfaction? Systems like ERP or proper and fair rules and policy? Well, that is a very simple question. It's like asking what is more beneficial, egg curry or fruits? Well, both are beneficial. So, ERP is also required, proper rules and regulations are also required, proper motivation is also required. ERP cannot motivate you, only person talking will motivate you. With ERP, are we moving towards purely executive-based industry in non-product related functions? Non-production related functions. No, this is not true. ERP encompasses a wide range of activities and it will help you in decision making. it is a decision support system actually. So it will be a huge help. Often for decision making, you need certain kind of data to be compiled. For that, you quickly run queries through ERP and get the data, then take a decision. So that is where it is hugely helpful. So what is the mantra of change management in PSU? Basically, change management is a subject in management itself, and one can spend some time going through it on, say, Wikipedia, or do a bigger course if required. And change management is universally applicable, nothing specific about PSUs. Because it depends on the human behavior rather than a particular circumstances. Yeah, please continue.
Thank you. Very well
Thank you.
said.
Sir, just to add, you have told about your experience regarding using e-office in CVC and all. We are in Coal India also using e-office, but in a limited manner. Later on, in this pandemic situation, we are using e-office, you can say, in a better way rather than earlier one. But we in ERP we are convincing you, sir. We have another Newgen software which is more or less similar to e-office of NIC. That is called eGov, which is having more or less similar facility, and the best part is it is more or less seamlessly integrated with SAP also. So later on, we may replace e-office in Coal India with this eGov of Newgen. For that, we are already paying Newgen for this eGov software. So we will take advantage of that. That's the one part. So that you can initiate your notes in eGov and getting data, fetching data from SAP and move that way. So need not to go for any other software to go for any movement of note sheet and preparation of note sheet taking data from different sources. So that's the one thing. And one more question has come regarding the timeline and the parallel run sort of thing. In normal parlance of IT, we are saying parallel run. In SAP scenario, we are saying it's a trial run. Sir, our aim is not to go for any parallel or trial run after go live. Whatever we will do, it will be taken care before go live. Before go live, we will go for a parallel run of the payroll, which is running right now. So that last 6 months payroll, we will go for a trial run or say parallel run, so that by go live, we are sure about the output remains the same. So there will not be any, you can say, parallel running of two systems, CONET and ERP. So it will, so you need not to worry for that. Whoever listening us in this virtual town hall, I am assuring them everything will be done beforehand, every trial, every parallel, and we will be confident only move to the that is already planned. One more help is required from MCL and other subsidiaries. Sir, we have almost reached the finishing the realization stage. Now we are moving towards the go live phase, last stage of that. So in between, the SMEs working at different subsidiaries and as MCL and WCL being in first phase, those SMEs, which is two or three from every module, they must now start dedicatedly working for ERP. Why it is required? So we have already mapped or you can say configured or developed around 625 processes covering 7 modules, and if we count all the sub processes and sub processes, it is around 2000. And unless until it is not vetted by given green signal by these SMEs whether we are on right track or not, whether that end-to-end process is working properly or not, we cannot make confidence on that so that the real users can use it properly. Otherwise, they will not have that confidence, and it will the purpose of going go live will be defeated. So my earnest request to you, sir, and MCL and other subsidiary, let convince your management to be ready for the dedicated utilization of SMEs at your pool. And after that, rather parallelly working with that, their selection of end users, the number of licenses required for MCL and WCL is and including Coal India is around 2,800, and we have to generate, or rather we have to train around 4,000 end users who are the real users of the ERP in first phase. They must be selected very emphatically, very efficiently, so that just for the sake of selecting a person who maybe it is not only the security staffs from where data will be entered. Let those end users be selected properly, efficiently, and that's not an easy job. You just by the existing SMEs working in their department, sitting there, and when you tell them to come up with 550 numbers of your module end users, they will just give you that number of names. So those selection is a very vital part. If you go by, as you already having experience of working in ERP, selection of end users is a very vital part. So let us we all involve ourselves in vetting the different processes developed or configured in ERP right now, along with the selection of end users in your subsidiary. That's a very, so I'm taking the opportunity just to convince you all how vital it is. And thank you, sir. Finally, your very interesting words regarding coming from Bollywood. So we are also working using that passion of Shah Rukh Khan and commitment of Salman Khan, methodology of Amir Khan, and endurance of Amitabh Bachchan. That's really a very encouraging example we have cited. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. All the time.
Thank you.
In a lighter note, sir, as you told, sir, it's a romance without seeing your lover, sir. As we all are seeing you, sir. Also, you are not seeing us, but your words of love reach to our heart. Thank you, sir.
So to continue with that, I will request everyone to please open your or just allow your video, take a final picture. Please, everyone, please go ahead. Put on your video, please. Okay, it's coming. I want to see more. So all the lovers are at the home.
Thank you.
I want to see some more love here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
उसमें चेहरा भी दिखा दिया, उसमें सब आप दिया।
सब पार्टिसिपेंट्स को तो थैंक यू कर दीजिए सबको। हाँ।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
It was a
much.
very
Thank you, sir.
interesting.
दिखाई जा रही बार-बार। पागल हो गए क्या?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Wow.
Our social media at ERP Passion. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.